Thank you, Tom. I'm proud to be able to stand here today and say some good words about my friend Roy Halladay. It's quite an honor. But first, I'd like to tell Brandy, Braden, and Ryan, and all of Roy's family how heartbroken Missy and I are, and how we share your grief, along with all of baseball, your friends, and the fans today and around the world. We are so sorry Roy is lost to all of us. I met Roy Halladay for the first time in 2009 at the All-Star game when he was a starting pitcher for the American League. I told him then that he would look good in a Philly uniform. When Ruben Amaro called me in December to tell me that he had acquired Roy in a trade, I have to say I was pretty damn excited. Pitchers like Roy don't come around very often. I didn't know Roy personally up until then, but when spring training camp opened in 2010, I learned firsthand on the first day who he was as a competitor when he beat me and almost everybody else to the ballpark. That morning he came, he dug right in with his legendary workout in his routine. We were already a good team, but I knew Roy's quality preparation and laser focus would have an instant impact on the Phillies. 3 months later, I watched him pitch a perfect game. As our season moved along, I learned who Roy Halladay was as a teammate. He was easy to get to know. Days when he wasn't pitching, he sat in the dugout, studied the game, and pulled for his teammates. To celebrate his May the 29th game, he presented 60 personalized luxury watches to one each to each person in the clubhouse. Inscribed in the line score of that game, the presentation box read, "We did it together. Thanks, Roy Halladay." That told me everything I need to know about his generous spirit and his respect for his baseball team. He saw his perfect game as our perfect game. Roy was a huge star. He was selfless. He was kind, gentle. I learned about his home team, Brandy, Braden, Ryan. When Roy would bring the boys to the ballpark and they'd be in the clubhouse, and down he'd go to the cage to get some work in with them. I recall one time Brandy was in there with the boys hitting, and believe me, she had them well-mannered. And we put the three of them on the Charlie Manuel show. That had to be good. After his retirement, I learned how dedicated Roy was as a family man. He asked me the past couple of years to speak with his boys' team, and during those visits, he and I had time to have some great conversations about life, about baseball. I was going through a transition of coming off the field myself. He talked about how important it was to him to spend time with Brandy and his boys. He said that he appreciated the sacrifices she made for his job in baseball. Coaching Braden and Ryan and having that time together with them meant everything to Roy, and he was so proud of them. He knew what it took to be a winner, and he wanted to teach that to his boys. He wanted them to learn about professionalism, work ethic, dedication, and respect for the game. All qualities he so superly displayed during his life and career. During these visits, I saw up close how generous Roy shared his time, his energy, his passion, the kids, and the love he had for his family. I had my last conversation with Roy just a week ago before he died. The Phillies are having a motivational strength and conditioning camp at the minor league facility starting the end of the month. He told me he was put in charge of getting me to come and make a talk. After kissing up to me enough, I agreed to come. And then he expressed how he was ready for a new transition in his life to whatever was next for him in the game. He wanted new challenges. He was searching for new ways he could contribute, be a difference maker off the field, and he would have been one of the best for sure. He had already proved he could do it. He worked hard to shape himself into the man. And when I mean the man, the guy you could depend on, the guy who would always take the ball. You could always count on Roy Halladay to do his job to the highest level. He was capable always. Roy was in my amazing career, my longevity in baseball, I'm amazed that I got to know Roy Halladay. I'm honored to have managed him and have been his friend. I had a front row seat for 4 years to watch one of the best pitchers of all time. I saw him win 20 games. I saw him win a Cy Young Award. I saw him throw a perfect game. I saw him throw a no-hitter in the playoffs. I saw one of the most dedicated guys on the field that I've ever been in baseball. And then the last 4 years I've been around him, and I've got to see him a whole lot, and I got to know him real good. Him and I always had talks, and believe me, it was always great. We'd sit around, and my time with Roy was we talked a lot about cars. We talked a lot about baseball, of course. We talked a lot about fishing, and just a lot of things in general. And I'd just like to say, before I get through, I want to say to Braden and Ryan, that I'll be watching you play baseball, son. I'm pulling for you. I've been pulling for you ever since I met you. I will come to some of your games. I'll get a schedule, and I guarantee I'll keep up with you. And also, I'd like to say to Brandy, that, you know what? I know you're going through bad times right now. It's difficult. It's difficult for me to stand here and talk to you. But at the same time, you know, that love that you shared with Roy for all those years, that's definitely going to help you. But also, I'd also like to say that you gave Roy probably two of the greatest presents someone could ever give a man. You gave him two sons. And for that, I'm sure where Roy's at today, he's very proud of that, and he's very proud of his family. I love Roy Halladay. He's a good friend of mine. And I think he's very special. And I wish him well, and also, too, I want him to lay in rest in peace, Roy. Thank you.